Hello, everybody. We're going live for Tuesday Talks, and today we are speaking with Kim McIntyre, and she is an amazing coach, I would say, as well. You know, she's a YouTuber, a speaker, a cat lover, a nature lover, laughter yogi or yogini, whichever. We will all we'll ask all that questions, and we will see what her journey is. I see you there, Kim. Let me just get you invited here.
Right. Hi, Kim. How are you doing?
Hi,
Hopefully,
good,
this
thank
is
you.
a better signal area. I know we
I
had
hope so. I hope so. We've had technical difficulties, so
we had technical glitches to do the
yeah,
actual practice session or just to connect
yeah.
before.
The
But
light's not as great here, but I can see you and hear you, so that's we'll go with that.
that's wonderful. Oh, that's good. That's good. Um, well, I've done a short introduction for you already.
Mhm.
I've so many things that you do, laughter, and speaker, YouTuber, and all that. But you're the best person to let us know who you are. So introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, and the biggest question is, why do you do it?
Yeah, yeah. So I help people who they know they want to enjoy their lives more and they would love to have more laughter and joy in their lives, but they just have trouble figuring out how to do it in the middle of everything they've got going on, right? We all have a lot of stuff going on. And so I teach them how to give themselves permission for joyful self-care, whether it's fun, laughter, connection with other people, with nature, with their joyful, playful self. I really help them to find their way into that. And the why goes to how our culture is for a lot of people. So very often people are taught, it's okay to be playful when you're a kid. It's okay to be playful when you're retired and have fun. But in between, you're supposed to be like serious, 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 And if you're like so-called goofing off too much, then there's something wrong with you. And play becomes like a four-letter word, unless you're playing hard. And then somehow playing hard, when you put all the pressure and angst into it and competitiveness, then it's okay, right? So often people like use their stress as like a badge of honor or a sense of self-worth of, oh, I must be doing okay because I'm totally stressed out, right? So we need to like shift that a little bit, because the truth is we are all drawn to people who make us laugh, who have a sense of humor, who have lightheartedness in the face of challenges, who can, help us to find that laughter in the face of certain situations that are difficult or hard. We're all drawn to that. It's a gift. It's something we value, but in a lot of cultures, we're not taught to value it. We're taught to value being serious and working hard. And not that there's anything wrong with those things, but in the bigger picture, we also need to value that lightheartedness, that levity, because it's really a gift for everybody in our lives. And so I have found the value for that myself, and I've found it so often for the people that I've helped. And so my why is just to shine that out there into the world, that laughter and joy and fun are not frivolous, that they are really important. And you're not going to be on your deathbed going, why didn't I check more things off my to-do list? You're going to want to have had that quality experience of connecting with life in a joyful way.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that, and thank you for sharing this. Connecting with life in a joyful way. I'm going to actually use that as an episode title as well. So that's actually a
Great.
good title now.
Great.
Connecting with life in a joyful way. And so, how did you come across it? Was there something you've been doing for you were doing without knowing, and then you're like, hang on a minute, oh, others don't notice these things. I know the stress that you mentioned is something gets given to us, peer pressure, society, parents, and everything that comes along, because this is something you're supposed to do that way. And if you're not doing it, something is wrong. Definitely, we need to then fix it. Well, no, if we see what the person is doing and then direct that energy towards a better outcome, will get the same result. It's just everybody is built differently, and that's how, I see things should work out that way.
Yeah,
But how
yeah.
did you notice firsthand that yourself?
Well, it actually started with a health crisis that I had back in 2001. And it was a stressful time also up until that period in my life. Very, very stressful. I was really pretty burned out. And then what happened was I went through this, it was basically a growth in my mouth that they initially just thought was bone. And then they did initial surgery and it turned out not to be. It turned out not to be cancer, not to be life-threatening. But they still, because it had been growing so fast, they wanted to do more surgeries on me. And I was like, hey, this isn't life threatening. Let's just hit the pause button here. And I ended up, just while we were researching second and third opinions with different doctors, my husband is really great with the research and all that. I had heard about a mind body healing program in Orlando. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go there. And so it's really for helping people who are dealing with health crises and stuff. And we did all kinds of wonderful self-care things, right? There was journaling, there was counseling, there was art therapy, there was all kinds of cool stuff. But the thing that really got me was we did laughter and play therapy every day. And it was like coming home like, oh yeah, this is who I am. It's like hitting a light switch inside of me of remembering who I really am and what I love. And I just felt like myself come alive in the middle of it, right? And it was just so amazing. And I was like, how did I forget this? How did I forget how important laughter and joy and play is to me? Because I knew it as a kid. I knew it back, in the day. I used to do theater back in the day. And I, the playfulness of that and the interactivity of that. And I had drifted away from all of that in the middle of the seriousness and the stress of life. And so I finished the 2 weeks at their place, and then I'm home and I'm like, well, where's my laughter therapy today? Like I was jonesing for it. I was like, I really need it. And then not too long after that, I saw an ad in a magazine to go and be trained to become a certified laughter leader, which is like, some people call it laughter yoga, or there were laughter clubs all around. And I was like, oh, what is that? I need that. So I went there and I got trained. And then after that, since then, I haven't really turned back. I've gone on and taught so many people how to do what I learned. And then it kind of branched out into other things over time. But that was the impetus of where it started. And what ended up happening with my jaw was we finally went with a consult with a doctor who sees that type of growth often. And he says, you know what? It's been 3 months. It hasn't grown. Just get it checked every now and then, and like all the different surgeries and horror stories of what they were going to do to my body. And it was like, oh, okay, I can do that. And now it's just like when you x-ray it, it looks kind of like an extra bone in there. And so there's still this little bump in my mouth, but I'm so grateful for that bump because it led me on this new journey, and maybe it saved my life in other ways. Like if I hadn't found the stress relief then, who knows what else worse might have happened to me if I just let the stress keep piling up on me. So that's the story of how I got started with it.
Wow. And that's an amazing journey, and thank you for sharing the vulnerability in that story as well, right? So that you were going through the process of a bone or a bump there, you don't know what it is, and I can only imagine what goes through your mind, because you do not know what it is, but it's painful, and it's just there, and going through doctors who just want to operate and just carry on operating even though they've taken it out. It's there, and I love how then that pivoted you to look for a holistic kind of way of fixing yourself. I've heard so many people who have healed themselves, by just what you just did, by laughter or meditation or mindset as well, because our bodies are designed to self-heal. How animals who get injured, who have nobody to look after, can heal themselves as well, right out there. but and we are able to do that ourselves as well. But it's because we are now set in this certain way of doing things. And now you have to do this, you have to do that. This is, oh, especially when they go, oh, grow up, and you're like, really? What's that growing up has to do with what I'm doing here now, right? So it's and then especially when they say, oh, the boys will be boys in certain places, when they say boys never grow up, I think because they tend to hold on to the playfulness a little bit longer than usual, right? Because they goof around and they don't take some boys don't take life seriously as the world want them to do, right? Because it's expected of you at certain point, you will be now working hard and then bringing, creating a life, creating what society thinks you should have. You should have a car, you should have a house, you should have a family by now. So you should be following that on those ladders. You can have all that, but not necessarily in that steps, right? And going through your laughter journey, and what I heard in that story was that once you've finished, you were missing it, and the universe just kind of brought it in front of you, right? Hang on,
Exactly.
do you really want it? Here's an opportunity. Here you go.
Yes.
And you took it. You were like, yes, let's do it.
Yes,
And
I mean the training was like a couple weeks away, and I'm like, I'm on a plane. I'm going. I got to do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Yeah.
and now you're teaching everybody else, amongst other things that you are doing. So how was that journey for you when you pivoted to actually now do this? And I'm sure before this you had your a regular job, as everybody call it, a day job. That was part of the life norm. But then when you had to pivot, how was that journey? Scary, I'm sure.
I used to get really scared. Like I first started with just some small groups, and the first couple times I was really nervous. But then I remembered, you know what? These people are getting out of their comfort zone to come to me. So rather than focusing on how nervous I was like, oh, they're nervous. They're nervous walking in the door. So let's make it my job to make them feel welcome, make them feel at home, make them feel less nervous. And when I focused on them, I was fine. I was fine. Like the nerves just went away. And, over time it just built, and the groups got bigger. And, there were a couple times when I was doing public speaking early on that I had to adapt it, like for a corporate environment or a different environment, from what I was taught, that what I was taught wasn't quite right for that environment. So, but I learned from it. I take it, I learn from it, I adapt it, I make it so it's more palatable and understandable for them. And I learned from it. So, once or twice I bombed at the beginning when I was speaking, and it wasn't a small group, it was a big group. And, yeah, that's an unpleasant experience to bomb, but I think that is part of the journey. And so, and once I got the hang of what it takes to do it, then it's just a joy, because you get to see that lighting up process that I talked about in my own journey. I get to see it on the faces of the other people in the room, and that just makes it all worth it. That just makes it just so fulfilling that you get to see that, because laughter and joy just automatically lifts people up. We all crave it. We all want more of it. So I'm just so excited to be able to share it with people in that way.
And I love that, actually, because I'm a kind of a person who actually bounces off other people's energy more. Because I'll say I'm originally built as an introvert person. But speaking to me now, nobody can realize I'm an actual introvert, because in my younger years, I've been through bands and played on stage and everything. Whilst I'm on stage, I'm on a different planet. But as soon as I'm off stage, I'm back into my introvert shell. And they would never, if you've not seen me on the stage, you would not know that I was 5 minutes ago up there. I'm just sitting down quietly in the corner with my drink. And that's how it is. But this is what I was saying. So your laughter here now is making me have the biggest smile now. If people are, and want me to laugh as well. So it is.
Yeah.
It's infectious, and it's a good infectious, right?
It's a very good infectious. It's very contagious. I think there are even like YouTube videos out there of people like doing contagious laughter, like just showing up at a bus stop and laughing hysterically, and you get to see all the other people laughing with them because you can't help it. You know, it's something that, and I think there's actually been studies done where they've studied the brain, and that when you hear someone else laugh, like something prepares in your mind to smile and laugh too. So, and it does build connections with people like that. That's another benefit from sharing laughter, is it just makes the connections between people and relationships easier. And so like there's a comedian that's way before our time. His name is Victor Borga, and he always said the shortest distance between two people is a laugh. And it's so true, because you laugh, you share laughter, there's this sense of connection in something shared, and something shared that's positive and uplifting. So yes, it's a good contagious.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that comedian that you've just shared. Obviously, definitely before my time, because I don't know him. But
You should
so
look it
yeah,
up. You look it up. He was hysterical. He was a musician. He was a pianist, and he used um, the classical music done in a comedic way, and he was very, very funny. I don't know. It might be dated
ah,
now, but I remember seeing it as a kid and thinking it was hysterical. So yeah.
oh, no, definitely have to check it out, and we will
Hmm.
definitely Google it. I'll recommend everybody to obviously check it out as well. Anything that can make us laugh is worth Googling, you know.
Yeah.
People Google so many random stuff. We should Google things that make us laugh as well. Uh, so when you pivoted across and you started this journey, of course, you know, you had the ups and downs, the little mistakes here and there. But what was the biggest challenge that you had? Uh, and I think I know what the question answer would be, but yeah, let's go if you'd like to elaborate.
Yeah, so technology, when I went into the online world, technology has been a big challenge for me. And it's, you know, normally I can stay in a really positive mindset. And, you know, I've over the years cultivated that within myself, but nothing brings on the stress for me quite like a technical glitch. And so I had to actually laugh when you know, we were trying to sign me on before and I couldn't get on to Instagram. And I'm like, oh, of course, you know. And there's something going on with my website right now, and I have some guy fixing it for me, but I still have to be in the process with that. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm filming a new Laugh More Everyday program to bring my laughter stuff is to an online program that people can take and ease their way through. And I filmed a whole bunch of stuff and didn't realize till afterwards there's this buzz on my microphone and I can't do that. So
Oh,
then I had to shut for a new microphone. So I try to keep a sense of humor about it, but I have to know this about myself, that, you know, I need all of my stress relief tools and my laughter when it comes to dealing with technical glitches. And, you know, the technology just continues to evolve, and, you know, all the systems, I get to know it, I get comfortable with the system, and then they upgrade it and it's different, right? And I'm like, okay, now I got to learn a new thing. And I'm like, okay, I just have to surrender to that and know that I need to do it in little bite-sized pieces, because it's not my favorite thing in the world to do and deal with. So,
I love that, and thank you for sharing your vulnerability again there. Yeah, technology, you know, you're not alone there. There's lots of people who are challenged with technology,
yeah.
and
And I
obviously
have upstairs where I couldn't get a connection. I have my beautiful ring light. I have, you know, all set up for our interview. And I'm like, okay, so you know, done is better than perfect. So here we are.
yeah, no, I agree there 100%. You know, progress, you know, is better than perfection anyway. So we are
Yes.
progressing here. You know, it's not perfect, but it is
Yeah.
something that people can take away and listen to, and you know, to learn from it. And that's
Hmm.
all it matters at the end. You know, it's great that we are finally able to do this, because yeah, we were thinking, isn't it? What if it doesn't happen? But
Yeah.
it's technology is ever changing. But I know that, you know, due to pandemic as well, you know, recent events, technology kind of catapulted, and
Hmm.
I've read somewhere that technology in this 5 years, since the pandemic started, in this 5 years is going to move, jumps at the rate that whatever you were seeing in 10 years, or
Mm,
no, sorry, in a decade, that the progress you saw in last decade, that's going to
yeah.
happen now in this 5 years, is going to progress like it's a decade. That's how fast the technology is moving.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
read
I'm
somewhere.
gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna deal with it. Whatever it is, I'll deal with it.
Yeah, no, no, exactly. Well, when I read it as well, I'm like, right, okay, I'm not getting any younger myself, so I'm getting slower. I'm getting slower, so I can't keep up myself as well. Because one day I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I understand this, and then 2 weeks later you come back to it, it's changed. I'm like,
Yeah.
where did this come from?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
now I have to learn that. Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
completely on the same boat. I understand that. Um, so obviously overcoming that, and I love the way you've overcome that, challenge in terms of incorporating your laughter with it. If you just
Yes.
laugh it off, your brain then doesn't. What I'm hearing from this story as well is that then your brain is not picking that up as a problem, as a challenge, as an issue that you are, currently stuck on or challenged. If you're laughing it off, or you're just looking at it but still laughing about it, your brain's not triggered or alarmed. Oh, this is something I need to look for a solution now. I need to look for a solution, because that's where the panic mode starts and the stress
Right.
comes in, right?
Right.
Whereas if
Yeah.
you are calm, laughing, whatever works, and you're doing that, it's just looking at it. Okay, what is this? Oh, it's not working. What's that button there? What's this here? You just
Yeah,
gotta tap
exactly.
on the stuff, right?
Exactly. And what happens for me with sometimes a technical glitch, it didn't really happen today. I was like breathing today. I'm like, okay, it's either going to happen with our interview or it's not. But sometimes what happens is like that panic or that anxiety pops in like quickly, like it rapidly within seconds. And so what the laughter and deep breathing and other things can do is help bring it back down to a more calm state. Because I know if I've gone into that in that fearful mode, that is not the place to be dealing with technology for me, or whatever the issue is coming up. That's not a moment where I have access to my inner wisdom, to my deeper knowing, to like even my logical brain to like sort through what needs to happen next. All of that just kind of goes out the window with the fear, and I just know that about myself. So anything we can do, yes, to interrupt that is helpful, so that it doesn't hang on and on and on in our systems for a long time and cause us, health issues and troubles. Yeah.
Agree, 100%, 100% agree with that. So is there a routine or a ritual, some people like to call it, that you follow, a morning routine or a ritual, evening or a nighttime, before going to bed? Is
I
that
have
something
them
that you
all.
follow?
I
You
have
do
them
it all?
all.
Okay, okay.
So I
What's the
have
best one to do?
morning, daytime, and evening. So in the morning, I meditate every morning. And then usually after I meditate or right before I meditate, I have piles and piles of inspirational books and uplifting books. And either I'll just open to any page and it seems to be the exact thing I needed to read or see that day. Or if I'm working through reading a book, I'll read a page or two of that book, and I'll choose different things, different days. So that's my morning routine. And then during the workday, I will sometimes set a timer. If it's something that I'm doing that's tedious or technology related or something like that, I will set a timer for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And when the timer goes off, wherever I am in the project, I make myself stop and go and take a short walk or do some deep breathing or whatever, take a 5-10 minute break and come back and set the timer again. And like that's how I work my way through it. And it's like giving myself little kind of rewards in the middle of it all, to go reward myself, to go pet my cat, go do something that just, even if it's drink a glass of water or have a snack or something. And then in the evening, I always before bedtime, I write in my gratitude journal, what I appreciate from the day that I just had. And so those are all powerful things that I do all the time. And then like not daily, but like every 6 weeks, what I do is I take a look back at the previous 6 weeks and look at what my wins were, what I got done, what I accomplished, so I can see it and let myself absorb it and let it in. And then I look ahead. What do I want for the next 6 weeks? And I used to do it every month, but now 6 weeks, my business coach actually suggested 6 weeks because it actually gives me time to feel more of that completion and that satisfaction of things. And then I'll just shift to whatever is the focus, the primary focus for the next 6 weeks. And sometimes I've checked everything off and it feels amazing. I'm like, yeah. And sometimes something else comes in that I didn't know was the priority that turns, and I'm like, that's okay too. There'll be unexpected wins that way. Things I didn't think I had to deal with that I got unexpected wins from. So that's also part of my routine. It's not daily, but it's like, it helps me focus on what the priorities are for me in a given period of time. So I don't get like trying to do too many things at once or take too many things on at once.
I love that actually, and thank you for sharing that. And the last part, especially, that every 6 weeks you're checking on what you've achieved so far, because
Yeah.
we know we don't do this on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
We look at what we've not done
Yes.
as a normal, normally everybody will be like, I've not done this, I've not done this, but we're not looking at how far we've come and what we've achieved, where we were 6 weeks ago, for example, and where we are now, and then where do we want to go next 6 weeks, and we build from there now where we are standing, right? And I love
Right.
this. So how do you check that? Do you create a list of things that as you are completing, and then you look at that with what you started with, or
Actually, I do, because was such an issue for me. It's something I've done for a long time now, because all I was seeing was what it's not done, what's not done, what's not done, what's not done. And it was like, it's almost like, beating yourself over the head with it. It takes up too much mental space. And so this was something someone suggested to me like 20 years ago, to write out what I did do that day. And so as I'm doing things throughout the day, I actually keep a book that is the things I do. And if there's something that, since I know I see that book every day, if there's something really important that needs to happen on a certain day, I actually make sure I write that into that particular book as a to-do. But mostly it's not for to-do. It's just to look at what I have done so I can actually see it and let it register. And so then what I do, that 6 week stuff, writing process, also happens in that same book. And I'll go back and I'll review. Oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did that. I forgot I did that. And it's like, it lets it sink in that I'm actually moving forward and that every step counts, because if you think about it, so often, it's like if you think about somebody who wants to like hike the Adirondack Trail, let's say, like some big goal like that, right? And they start in the south of the United States and they're hiking all the way to the end point in Maine. They don't want to be on that trail going, gotta get to Maine, gotta get to Maine. Why am I not in Maine yet? I've got to be to Maine. Like the whole focus is on that result that you're not there yet, right? And so often we get that way with our goals in life. That person on that trail wants to be able to take in the scenery and enjoy the sounds of the birds and the feel of the breeze and, the meeting new people on the journey and all of that good stuff. And even if one day, like their pack is like super, super duper heavy and their feet are blistered, to still be able to find something in that moment that they can appreciate from that experience. Like that's what they went on that trail for, even if they're challenged, to find their way through that challenge in the moment, so that they're not just like, Maine's it, gotta get to Maine, And so I feel like if we apply that to how we move through life, so that we can really enjoy the journey. And so that's a lot of what I teach when people work deeper with me. It's like, yes, you want the goals, you want to go for what you want to create, but how can you do that in a way that's going to work for you to enjoy the journey, so that you're not miserable the whole way to the goal? Because when you're miserable the whole way to the goal, even when you get the goal, you might be happy for a minute, but then the goalpost moves, and then there's a new goal that you got to go for, right? I mean, it's like, how often do you let yourself sink in with the celebration and the satisfaction of having accomplished something? And so Yes, that's why I keep that journal for myself so that I have those moments, even if I forget it all the way through, even every day, somewhere in my mind, as I'm writing it down, I'm seeing what I'm doing. And then every 6 weeks to go back and look, it just helps me to have a 6 week celebration moment where I go, pat on the back, good job, acknowledging myself for that.
That is actually very awesome, and thanks for sharing the way you're achieving this, and it's great that that people also can take away from the story here now is to pat themselves on the back every 6 weeks or so, to just
Yeah.
see what you've achieved instead of saying why am I not there yet, or
Mm-hmm.
how far do I need to go now, instead of how far I've been, how far I've come,
Exactly.
and yeah, whatever's left is no worries. You are making your way there, and you said the goalpost keeps moving anyway. If
It does.
if because once you reach there, it's gonna go further. Because you're gonna get a newer goal. You're gonna become,
Uh-huh.
anything you do, you always are growing yourself anyway. If you're stagnant in one place, then obviously we need to look at why is that happening. But you should be just moving forward every time. Every time there should be a growth plan for yourself, whether that's prepared consciously or subconsciously, or just doing it, because you like to move forward. That
Mm-hmm.
comes to people who love challenging themselves every time, whether that's extreme sports or being sporty people, or whatever they wish. They are challenging themselves to be better at something, and then what's next, and then what's next. But that will always happen. Is to see how you've come to that goalpost. Oh wow, I've done all this before
Yes,
I got to this,
yes.
and that's the real celebration and achievement. And instead of right, oh, I've reached, what next? Oh, here's a medal. Come back again next year.
Right?
It's like running a
Yes.
it's like running a marathon, right? You come to the end. What's next?
What's
You
next? I
have
gotta I gotta get my time down the next time I do a marathon, right? I gotta run it faster, right? Or I
yeah,
gotta go do a different challenge. Go do the Ironman now, whatever. Yeah.
exactly. That's all it is. And that's amazing that you've shared this. I'm sure it's a brilliant share for whoever's watching now or listening onto a podcast to take away from, because we all are challenged with not looking at what we've achieved or how far we've come. We always look at what's left and what we're not having now.
Yes.
And it's nobody's fault. It's how we are conditioned throughout our school years, because that's how our school teaches us. You need to get that grade. You need to get that grade, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
you're working for that grade, and if you're not getting that grade, you're getting told off. you know. So that's conditioned into it, and so a lot of people have to do that and learning part of things. So when did all this, and you've obviously became a successful coach because your groups were becoming bigger and bigger. What you have any programs coming through recently, or is it something people can come and look at your Instagram or website, or how can they connect with you if you got something coming recent?
Yeah, so there's a couple new recent things I'm doing, and now I had taken a break from speaking for a little bit to focus on figuring out the whole online world for a bit, and then I was ready to go back out as a speaker in March of 2020, and that went out the window. And I'm like, well, let me just ride this out and focus more on the online. So I taught some classes on Zoom and stuff like that, some intensives, some things like that. And I actually enjoyed doing that. So I will continue to do that. But now that hopefully, cross fingers, things are opening up a bit more, I want to put myself back out there as a speaker because I just do enjoy that so much. And then I'm also in the process now. I've got my microphone issues fixed, and I am in the middle of filming, and I'm creating a new online program that people can do at their own pace called Laugh More Every Day. And it'll go along with the other mini programs I have in my Joyful Being Academy. And those programs are really about discovering what works for them and what doesn't work for them. The speaking and my YouTube channel and things like that are really about inspiring and uplifting and giving people new ideas to try out. But my mini programs are really about what's in it, what's going to work for them. And then it always ends with practical steps, because if you don't integrate it into your life, it's just something you learn and you let go of. And it's about the strategies always at the end to how do I integrate this into life? What's going to work for me so I don't forget? So I don't forget to relax, to have fun, to take care of myself, to connect with people, all the things that help them to feel better in their lives. Yeah, and then people who work deeper with me, it's like that bigger picture of that I mentioned earlier of how do you move towards your goals? How do you move forward in a way that is enjoyable for you? And so those are the new things I have coming out. And they can always find my website is joyfulbeing.com. You can find me on YouTube. My channel is Joyful Being with Kim. And also, if they're watching on IG, the link in my bio will take you to the social media page on my website where they can see all the different places they can connect with me. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, you can just go to joyfulbeing.com, and then, at the bottom of the menu, you can find the social media page. And also, this is out there for anybody who wants it. I offer a free resource of 10 powerful questions to reignite joy for yourself, like to rediscover what brings you joy, because it's different things for different people. And often people forget, like if you ask somebody what brings you joy, what makes you laugh, like they go, I don't know. So often. Right. And so it's like that. The free resource is just those series of questions to spark that again, to see what joy could be for you. And so that's available on my website as well for free for anybody who wants it. And I find questions to be such a powerful way to shift your focus, so, and the quality of the questions. So you can ask yourself, what is wrong with me, right? And that's not going to lead your brain into a direction that's very helpful, because if you ask that question, your brain's going to start telling you what's wrong with you, but if you ask a different question, like, what do I need to do right now? Or what can I learn from this situation? Or just questions that point you in the direction that you want to go. Questions can be such a powerful way to find what you want more of, to find that, to discover it for yourself, because it puts you in a curious state of mind. I think curiosity is so powerful.
I agree with that 100%, because the questioning, I always say the vocabulary you use also, motivates yourself, also inspires your mindset to do what you need to be doing, So I'm not saying vocabulary as you're using foul language every time. There's nothing wrong with if that's how you speak, foul language is there. But it's a case of how you are questioning what's happening at that moment. Exactly. If you're asking what's wrong with me, your brain's like, oh, let me find out and I'll tell you.
Let me get the list, right? Yeah. It's like a Google search.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So it's doing that, and your brain only does things from the past anyway. It doesn't know anything else. It's got the archive of you being born until you are now. And it'll just start looking at that archive and like, that's relevant. I'll bring it up forward, and you are seeing that's what's inspiring you to, oh, something is wrong with me now. That's why I don't do this. Instead of you say, okay, what am I learning from this here? What is this trying to teach me? What can I do to not have this in the future if there was something, got wrong? Or, okay, how can I avoid this in the future? What can I learn from it? Then your brain be like, okay, let's look at it. That'll be analytical. You don't have to be the best analytical person out there. It's just a way of, if you just ask, okay, what's happening here? Your brain will start looking into it and tell you, right, all I see is this and this and this. Maybe they're trying to do this, right? And they're like, oh, okay, I'll just ask. Are you doing this?
Yes.
And I love that you shared this, because a lot of people, in general, it's common that you get asked, oh, something is wrong with me, because you look inwards first, right? By default, you look at, oh, something must be wrong with me. That's why it's not working, right? And it's not the case. It's just we're not asking the right question to move forward to where we are, right?
Exactly. I agree. 100%. Preaching to the choir.
Oh my God. we will be now wrapping this up shortly.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to, before we wrap this up, what would you like to say to everybody who's listening, and leave them with some sort of motivational
Yeah,
thing?
I would
Yeah.
say our culture tells us not to value laughter and joy and fun and play. And I would say challenge that belief. See if that belief lives in your own head and challenge it, because there's so much value to it. And once you value it, then you need to be proactive to go find a way to make some of it happen. And if you go, oh no, I can't do that, I don't have time for that, you'll never have time for it. You know, if you keep postponing it, it shows that it's not a priority in your mind, and you'll just keep tossing it down the road. So if that's something you want, if you want to lift yourself up in that way, then be proactive, take steps, and keep taking steps. It don't have to be huge steps, but every step counts, you know, on that journey. So go ahead and take your next step, whatever it is, to find that for yourself.
Love that. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that amazing journey of yours as well. And
Mm-hmm.
there's so many golden nuggets for people to take away from it. Definitely. So everybody else who's been listening to this IGTV live since beginning, you know, and if there's been a spark in your mind. And so it's now your duty also to share this episode with somebody. We shouldn't keep those motivations or inspirations or sparks just within us. We need to shine it bright, let it know that you have that, there's an inspiration here that you've come across. And then we just need to share it with others as well. So same goes for anybody who's listening to this as well. Because there's so much shared. If you have that, we don't know who's gone to bed or woken up just thinking of a better day. And if you had that inspiration and spark, it might just give them that inspiration and spark. And that's all what we need to get somebody moving, or yourself to keep moving. And it might create something that they are hoping for. And we just don't know. And they will thank you for it. So if you're thinking of that inspiration, you had an inspiration, just share it, tag someone, or just share the story with anybody. Thank you very much, Kim, for sharing your amazing journey. Thank you, everybody else as well. And everybody else, we will see you next Tuesday with another incredible person. Kim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.